One day, Jesus told a story about a man, let's call him the traveler, who was making his way down the road from Jerusalem to Jericho. Anyone hearing it would have immediately pictured that road. It was notorious, rocky, winding, and dropping nearly 3,000 feet in just a few miles. Bandits lurked in the shadows of jagged cliffs, waiting for unsuspecting travelers. Even seasoned merchants and soldiers got uneasy there. And as Jesus told it, the traveler's worst fears came true. A gang of robbers pounced, stripped him of his clothing, beat him viciously, and left him half dead on the side of the road. Now imagine the crowd leaning in. This was not a strange tale, but something frighteningly believable. Many had probably walked that road themselves. Then came the twist. By chance, a priest, the religious elite, a man who offered sacrifices in the temple and knew the law inside and out, came walking along. If anyone would stop, surely it would be him. But Jesus said the priest saw the broken body lying in the dirt, crossed over to the far side of the road, and kept going. Maybe he was thinking about the purity laws, or maybe he didn't want to risk becoming unclean. Maybe he simply didn't want to be bothered. Whatever the excuse, he offered no help. Not long after, a Levite appeared. Levites assisted in temple service. They were trained in rituals and knew the traditions by heart. People listening would have thought, surely the Levite will stop. But no. The Levite also saw the man, glanced at him, and then passed by on the other side. Perhaps he was afraid the robbers were still nearby, or maybe his errands felt more urgent than mercy. Whatever the case, another opportunity for compassion slipped away. By now the crowd listening to Jesus must have been murmuring, why would holy men ignore a dying neighbor? Then Jesus dropped the surprise that would have made everyone stop breathing for a moment. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where the man was. To the Jewish audience, Samaritans were despised outsiders. Their history was tangled with centuries of mistrust, different worship practices, and open hostility. A Samaritan was the last person they would expect to be the hero of the story. And yet this Samaritan, this outsider, felt compassion. He didn't look away or calculate the risks. He got down into the dust beside the wounded man. He poured oil and wine on his wounds, ancient remedies to soothe and disinfect, and bound them with strips of cloth. Then, with real effort, he lifted the man onto his own donkey, trading the comfort of his seat for the hard walk beside it. Slowly, step by step, he brought the broken traveler to an inn. But the Samaritan's mercy didn't stop there. He stayed the night to make sure the man was cared for. The next morning, he gave the innkeeper 2 denarii, enough for several days' lodging, and said, "Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, when I return I will repay you." He was not just generous, he was self-sacrificial. His help cost him time, money, and inconvenience, but he gave freely. When Jesus finished, he asked the piercing question, which of these 3 proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among robbers? The answer was inescapable, the one who showed mercy. And Jesus concluded with a command that still reverberates today. Go and do the same. The crowd must have felt both stunned and convicted. This parable shattered their categories. Neighbor was not defined by ethnicity, position, or familiarity. It was defined by compassion. The priest and Levite, men of religion, failed. The Samaritan, despised and rejected, became the model of mercy. And if you picture Jesus' listeners exchanging uneasy glances, some angry, some ashamed, others deeply moved, you can sense the weight of the moment. The story of the Good Samaritan wasn't just about a road, a beating, and an unlikely rescuer. It was about the radical love of God, a love that crosses barriers, defies prejudice, and takes action. The lesson is timeless. Help often comes from the most unlikely places, and true love knows no boundaries. The Samaritan reminds us that being a neighbor isn't about who lives next door. It's about showing mercy to anyone in need, no matter the cost. If you are loving this video, please hit both that subscribe and like button to help this message to spread far and wide. Check out the rest of the Bible Stories playlist to enjoy heartwarming events of the Bible brought alive. Thank you for supporting the Wake Up channel. God bless you.